Hey, Freedom Friends and family, I am so glad to be here with you today. This week that we are pressing in and learning more about what Jesus did for us in his death, burial, and resurrection. These stories leading up to that are so impactful. So the story I'm sharing with you today is one very familiar to us. It's where Jesus washes the disciples' feet. And we're going to pick up in John chapter 13. I'm going to read to you this encounter. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered him, "What I am doing you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand." Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you." For he knew who was to betray him, and that's why he said, "Not all of you are clean." When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, "Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do them." So again, this is a very familiar passage to us of Jesus washing the disciples' feet here. But what we see is this overarching theme that Jesus came to seek and save the lost. That Jesus saved us wholly and completely, and only through him we receive salvation. But he came to serve those whom he created by giving of his whole self. But even in this act of humility, for him to lower himself as our king to do such a menial task as to wash their dirty feet. It is so opposite of the way we think a king would be approached. We would think we would bow down to a king, but our king bowed low to us, and he washed the disciples' feet. This is even opposite of the character that the disciples have shown. They've asked God, "Who will be greatest in your kingdom? Will I have a place of honor? Where will I get to sit?" And it all became about them. And that is the same as it is in us. We often want to be the favorite one, or the highly favored one, or our children to be that also. And oftentimes we look at things like, do I deserve this? But really, if we got what we really deserved, it wouldn't bode well for any of us. But then Jesus comes to Peter, and Peter tries to reject this act of Jesus out of honor for his deity. And Jesus says, "Don't you see, this is what I came to do. If I don't do this for you, you will have no share with me." He says, if I don't do this for you, you won't do this for others. Jesus gave the disciples and us a great example of this upside down kingdom, and he shows us how to live our lives. Peter goes on to say, "Not just my feet, but my hands and my head." And Jesus says, "The one who has bathed does not need to wash, except his feet to be completely clean." This is the portion that really stirred something in my spirit this week. Christ saved us completely. This is the washing. This is the complete washing. We are clean when Jesus calls us unto himself and saves us. We get to sit back and watch our salvation. This is only his act. That blows my mind. But this foot washing, this is something that the disciples had to do daily. This is something that reminds us that this act needs to be part of what our daily life looks like. So it's our washing in the word. This foot washing is what we do every single day when we press into his word. We must daily seek him in his truth. It is our daily foot washing. It keeps us from stepping where we don't belong. It sets our path straight and leads us into holy living. It leads us into service for others, and it sanctifies us. It sets us apart. His word sets us apart. His truth sets our boundary lines in pleasant places. That's what the book of Psalms tells us. So, my question for you is, are you seeking the Lord for your daily foot washing in his word and in his presence? If you're not, why? And second, where are you seeking to serve others by bending down low to wash their feet? As I ask you these questions, please know I've asked myself them this week. My prayer for you this week is that you press in and that you seek the Lord, and that on Sunday morning when we get together to celebrate Resurrection Sunday, we remember all He has done for us and we glorify Him together. If you don't have a church home, we would love for you to join us at 10 a.m. this Sunday morning as we celebrate Resurrection Sunday. You guys have a great week.